Hello World All Day friends. This is Michael Canadas with the Grovian Doll Museum and Carmel Doll Shop. Today we have set up a beautiful exhibit at the home of Susan and Lou Nunez. Do you know there's an old saying that teamwork makes dream work? And that's what we're going to share with you today. We're going to look at the products. In a way, it's by two companies. It is the company Maison Guillard, who is the retailer, and Alexandre Dehors, who was the maker. Now, this is a very important, really smack dab in the middle of the Second Empire, a very important maker. They did what I would call imperial models of the Empress of France. That is why this program is named The Shadow of Her Smile. So what we have today to share with you are 13 examples. You heard me right. Those of you that think 13 is a lucky number, and it is for me, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to share and compare. But I should tell you a little bit about the Dehors company in the beginning. Today, when we think of doll creators and makers, they're all of a certain age. And the certain age is close to mine. But when these dolls were originally created, they were created with youth and vitality. You would be hard-pressed to find one single doll maker that was over the age of 30. This particular maker was very inventive, imaginative. There were a lot of iterations in their company. They were into scientific toys, educational toys, and then along came the wonderful doll boom of the Second Empire, and they got in on it too. One thing that's also very interesting to me about this company and this man, Monsieur Dehors, he was immortalized in perhaps one of the most famous stories of the time, which was La Vie de Bohème, which became ultimately one of the most beloved operas of all time, La Bohème. And if you happen to have a great production of La Bohème, there will be the toy maker going through the storyline. And so his essence as a person was immortalized in that work of literature. So one of the lines in La Bohème is by Musetta, and it's called Musetta's Waltz, the piece, and she says, I'm going to paraphrase this, "When I walk down the street, everyone looks at me for my beauty. They look at me from head to toe." And I think this is very appropriate of what we have set up for you here. So we're going to just start. And I think what we should do, because we've got a lot of beauties to look at, let's start in the center. And the dolls that are on the table are from the Susan and Lou Nunez collection, the Grovian collection, and Denise Bisi. And that's what I mean when I say teamwork makes dream work. To be able to see this many examples and see the sameness, but yet the difference. So I'm going to start with this one, which is one of my favorites, and this is in the Nunez collection. And here you can see a gorgeous patented head, and this is one of the first, really one of the first early swivel neck models. But look at this beautiful shoulder plate with these molded breasts, and the beautiful detail where the arm would come into the shoulders. Just fantastic. And look at the beautiful painting of the face. Very simplistic, but everything works together. There's a little slight bit of shadow over the eyes, a beautiful feathering of the eyebrows. And of course, bodies are so important to the 19th century French fashion doll. And this is a kaleidoscope of bodies. There's only a few that are the same. And here you have your basic standard arms that are beautiful, all bisque long arms. And I think her gown is pretty spectacular. And this is blue tulle, although it sometimes photographs green. It is Eugenie blue tulle with fantastic blue Chantilly lace. So I think we've got to show you this because this is something you don't see every day. And as I'm looking at her, I'm seeing sameness in her hairstyle. So we've got 3 dolls that are basically wearing the same type of wigs. That is a really good indicator that that is probably an original wig, without a doubt. Next, we'll go to her companion, which is a Dehors man. And you might notice that the mold is the same, but slightly different. The facial features are much more masculine. The shape of the head is masculine, although the painting style with the eyebrows, eyelashes, lips, etc., are identical. And what is very unique about this particular model is this is a shoulder head. And the shoulder heads are where you're going to find, if you do a little investigating on the body, that's where you'll find the marking. So this is really, the males are very precious in this particular genre. He has a applied mustache and goatee, but you can see they utilize the same arms for him that they did on the lady. And this is a leather body with wood components. Next, we'll move over to this. Here we have another classic Dehors lady with the beautiful breastplate. Again, the beautiful painted features, the black or the cobalt blue eyes, flat. Most times I will tell you that they have the cobalt eyes. They don't have paperweights very often. I have seen a few, but not many. And this is on a leather body with wooden articulated arms, similar to what a brew would have. And of course, a lovely classic Grecian-esque gown. If you can find some original photographs from Maison Guillard, you will see that this was a style of dress that the dolls were often dressed in. I should point out that Madame Dehors was a known doll dressmaker. So she made dolls with wardrobes. She dressed single dolls. But Maison Guillard also had a dressmaking department. And one thing I can tell you, having a business, we have a dressmaking department, but that doesn't mean that we don't need outside help. So these dolls were very well outfitted with wardrobes of clothing. So we're going to move into another lady, and this one, both David and I think has a very sweet, gentle face, and she has the beautiful bent bisque arm, which I think a lot of us associate with this particular French fashion type. And note how beautiful the hands are shaped. Very, very delicate. And she really almost looks like a Madonna, almost in a serene look. Little tiny bit different painting style, but these are all handmade, and the eyes are a little, not cut as wide as some. But again, it has the beautiful shoulder plate with the beautiful molded breasts. Now we've got a couple of ladies here that we're kind of, and we're going to come back to her. So I'm not skipping over her, but we'll get back to her because there's a special treat with that one. So most of the dolls on this space are in beautiful ball gowns, but these dolls also had streetwear. So here we have a beautiful mid 1860s ball dress, and I wanted to show you her petticoat, which is pretty amazing, and a beautiful taffeta dress with all the beadwork and lace. But again, a fantastic face. And this dress I've also seen in shades of brown, which we call Bismarck brown. Again, it has the swivel neck with a beautiful molded breast, but it has the arms in a straight down position. I think we've seen the back of the dress and the details, but I think I should show you the front, which has a sensational design, beautiful detachable belt, handmade lace, which in the 1860s was a very luxurious trimming to have on a doll dress. But these were imperial providers, so you would expect nothing but the best. And here you can see her face straight on. And I think I said earlier that her arms were straight arms, but they have all the detail that you could want in a bisque arm. And I think I'll take a moment and push her aside, and she can go to the ball even though she's not dressed properly. And I will bring this beauty out, who's wearing a fantastic muslin dress with a beautiful wig. And I think I should point out, by the way, I think that this originally was this was pink trimming, and it is faded to this mellow ecru and coral color. Again, it's a classic face, same arms as the doll we looked at before, but this is what I want you to see, is she has her original hairnet that was probably also in the pink tones. And a beautiful wig that is padded with cotton to create more volume. This is not something that the makers were using to cut corners. This is what ladies did in the 1860s to enhance their hair. And here we have a handsome man. And again, a very strong, masculine looking face. And you can see that it has very interesting painting details. And how we absolutely know that this is a male and not a female dressed as a male, this doll has a very muscular shoulder plate. Most of the ladies have breast, etc. He's got muscles. And again, it has the cobalt blue eyes, which you would expect. And clearly he is a ginger because his painting is very in the reddish tones, various details, and then that certainly works with his clothing. But he is in outdoor wear, which fits this little group here very nice because they're all ready to promenade at the Jardin de Luxembourg. So I think we should go over to the ball, which we're going to have to step over here. So we move to the other end of the ballroom, and we have a treat for you here. Those of you that are familiar with the book Fashion Dolls by Countess Marie Tarnowska have absolutely seen this as the centerfold girl in the book, because you need 2 pages to get the whole dress into a publication. It is a spectacular original dress, and since I know of at least 3 versions of this that have survived, we know that it's a commercially made dress, whether it's from the Dehors company or Maison Guillard. That I couldn't absolutely tell you, but I do know that it's photographed in Maison Guillard trade cards. So it could be 50-50. She's got a beautiful standard face. I mean, I use the word standard by what's on the table here. It's definitely out in the outside world not standard. The bent arm and then the straight arm. There are combinations, as I've mentioned earlier, of 2 bent arms, 2 straight arms, etc. And this doll is unique in our collection is that it actually has a wardrobe of clothes. I have only tried them on once, and I will never change them again, because you can see the very tightly fitted upper sleeve. It can't take being taken off and put back on. And a very unique wig, a little bit different than our other ladies. Again, it's got a massive amount of enhancements and padding in the wig, and a kind of a little bit different color. And then I'm going to bring in this other lady, and what I think is very interesting is it's exactly the same pattern, but it's a different color weave and a little bit different style, with the gold trim and the pearl fringe. Originally, I think that this was a very, very bright coral color, and Napoleon III era, that was loved. But again, what I would call the standard face for this table. Beautiful molded breasts, but straight arms, but a little bit different, that it has articulation. It's a wooden body with the articulation at the elbows. And then kind of following, here's a really special gentleman. And I'm going to take his hat off so you can see his face. But it's a very masculine face, and it has an actual painted on mustache. Original costume, beautiful velvet suit, all beautifully bound with silk edging, silk covered buttons, and lots of nice accoutrement. Masculine shoulder plate, which most of the males have. I wouldn't say all of them. And what's unique about him is he's on an all leather body. So he's the only one on the table with a leather body. Now I'm going to move him aside, so bear with me. And I'm going to put him over here. And hope you stand up. And then I'm going to push these two party floats away. And I'm going to bring these two in, because they have a unique place on this table. Although they're very different, they have a unifying force. Now, what's really different about this one is, if you notice, it has a cup and saucer neck, the only one on the table. It has the beautiful arms, bisque arms, but they're hinged at the elbow. And he has a male, the male model face, and this is a shoulder head. But they're the only two dolls on the table with brown eyes. So that is a kind of a rare feature in a Dehors doll. And the china painting for the eyebrows, if you notice, they're much, much paler. And that could have been just what they made at the day, not anything unique or a different style of painting, just what someone felt like doing that day. And then as I get these two ladies together, even though they live together, you can see that their wigs, they're wearing the same brand of wig. Although they've aged a little different, they are basically the same style. And then going back to him, he's another unique factor, is that he has a wooden articulated body. And since he is a male doll and could very well have been owned and played with by a male child, that might have been for durability. Maybe he went to war or played all kinds of games. So the last doll we're going to show you, just give us 1 second and we'll be back because I have to set it up. So for the final Dehors treat, what a beautiful lady. And I get to say beautiful because she is. Beautiful example of the Empress of France. And there's a lot of mystery surrounding these dolls and the person they were to represent. And this doll has even more mysteries, because if you lift her up, she's a candy box. So was this for a beautiful, delectable piece of candy, or was it for a diamond ring or a sapphire bracelet? It's just an amazing piece with her little pantalettes showing at the end. And we've got, of course, we've got to glue this in place because it's California, and a little tiny remnant of a label, which we cannot make out. But look inside. It would have had one or two items. Could be candy. Sometimes you can still smell the chocolate after all these years. But what a wonderful gift. I mean, this would have been a gift that not only was it the gift in the surprise, but the item itself. And that it survived is just, I think, an incredible miracle. Well, friends, one thing that's wonderful about having a group of dolls like this as a supreme study group, we can notice something, which is the fact that all of the dolls on this space fall within the size 4 range, which is about a 17.5 to 18-inch doll. Now it varies, but not by much. It all has to do with the body style. Then another thing I want to share with you is the famous Dehors neck articulation. That has been used on many, many dolls. Now, I will say that there are many probably models of dolls out there that were created by the Dehors company that do not have these faces. I call these imperial faces, as in the Empress of France, and it's very unique. And then we also have to remember that things like patents have a shelf life, and next thing you know, other people are using your patent once it's available. And then a third thought is, how do you really protect a neck articulation that is inside of a doll, covered by a pate and a wig? It would be very hard to enforce that. And the third thing is, you know, I make mistakes. Or maybe that's the fourth thing. I make mistakes. And in an article, once upon a time I said, they do not have pierced ears, which is very interesting because half of the ladies on this table have pierced ears and the other half don't. It doesn't mean they're not wearing earrings. They just don't happen to have pierced ears. So those are my final thoughts on these amazing dolls. And I want to thank Susan and Lou Nunes for sharing their magnificent dolls. And I also want to thank our good friend Denise Bisi for making this all possible by teamwork is dream work. So I hope you have Dehors dreams tonight. Bye-bye, doll friends.
Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button.